Hello everyone, welcome back to Arkham. Yes. Oh, you know what? I think I'm missing the padded cell. Yeah, at least there it was padded and it was comfortable and I wasn't freezing to death on a bridge. Note to self, if any of you guys ever have a time where you are, I don't know, let's say being chased by assassins, bring a blanket. It might come in handy.
Check my head, I guess the joke's on me. Whoa, I'm not laughing at the irony. Oh no. Look to the sky at night.
Shoot! I'm out of Arkham books. Oh, wait, this should do it.
Hey, this is Arkham Week, not Penguin Week. Actually, I think Penguin Week might be on the Discovery Channel.
Oh, come on, it's a story about a classic Batman baddie. It counts.
No, find something else.
That's too bad, because after I was done reviewing this, I was going to review, this book.
Well, I guess it couldn't hurt. Alright, review Cobblepot's Crockpot.
Well, thanks for your permission.
Penguin, Pain, and Prejudice came out in 2012, right around the time when DC was starting to do their New 52 reboot. It was written by Greg Hertzwitz with art done by Seisman Kradransky. It is an in-depth look at the Penguin. We look into his past, we look into what he thinks and how he thinks, and through the eyes of the Penguin we see how he views himself, how he views how he wants to be, and how he views Batman.
I would dive into the details of this basic story, but this isn't the type of basic story that you can just easily dive into.
We start out with a flashback to when he was born and how even as a baby the only one who loved him was his mother. We then see the modern day Penguin and how this is a man to be feared. We see him at the Iceberg Lounge with everyone giving him a lot of praise and respect, and I like how he describes himself as someone who cuts a mean figure. Not tall, not rugged, but mean. And two things in this story happen right off the bat that shows how the Penguin is to be feared. First of all, it shows a woman spilling the slightest little champagne onto the Penguin's jacket, and she starts to cry. And then second, a man not watching where he is going bumps into the Penguins and starts to say something disrespectful. Then he sees who it is and he changes his tone. And as we see later in the story, we see that we are dealing with my favorite version of the Penguin. The one who has all the right connections, who can do just about anything he wants because he has covered all of his bases and makes sure that the law can't touch him. This book does a great job of looking at the Penguin's past and diving into how miserable it was for him as a kid. We see that the Penguin is not an only child in this book. He has 3 older brothers who pick on him and torment him, just like the kids at school. And it gives us a look of why he turns out the way he does. We see that he has shown little love from anyone other than his mother, so he ends up being a boy with so much hate and greed. One of my favorite moments in this book is right after we have this scene where Penguin is destroying the life of the man who bumped into him. Step by step, we see him dismantle his life altogether. And you show the Penguin, that is him at his most powerful. How he can destroy your life with just a few phone calls. We see him use his power, and the people who look at him with such fear because of everything he can do. And then, boom! Batman jumps into the story and everything changes. To a regular person in Gotham, Penguin is menacing. Penguin is someone to be feared. And Penguin is someone not to be messed with. But to Batman, he's just a fat guy in a nice suit. We see the Penguin being super menacing and threatening. And then Batman shows up and he's nothing. As he is humiliated, we see Batman stepping on his rose, symbolizing how Batman sees beyond his facade, how he sees who he really is, how the Penguin tries to put on a nice show and a nice face and a nice suit, but inside he truly is a monster, and Batman sees that. And we see Penguin's pants rip to show how Batman humiliates him in front of everyone. We see how the Penguin has a lot of envy for who Batman is. He wants what Batman has, since the way the Penguin gets things is by cheating. It is the one thing he can't have. This book does an amazing job of showing us the mind of the Penguin without having to explain everything. And sometimes it lets the visuals tell what he feels in a scene. Like when Batman shows up, we see a panel of him talking to Batman, but he's a kid again, showing how he feels helpless as he did when he was a child. Or when he's tearing apart this man's life, even though his face is filled with fear and sadness, all he sees is that smug smile that he was giving earlier. Or when he's looking at himself in the mirror, he visualizes what he wished he looked like. A big, strong, rugged man with good looks, but that is not who he is. The book does a great job letting the visuals tell the story. And that brings me to the art. The art is very good, fitting for a book like this. Sometimes I do wonder what the issue covers have to do with the story. Like, there is no giant robot Batman in this book, so I don't really get why this cover has a giant robot Batman. I guess it could mean that the Penguin is controlling Batman as if he was one of his robots, but that doesn't really seem to be what's going on in the book. So I don't know, maybe it means that Batman is so big and brooding it's symbolic of a robot about to destroy all of his plans, but it's still a little eyebrow raising for me. But hey, it still looks cool. I love how when Batman turns up in the story, we rarely get a good look of his face. Whenever he's in full view out in the open, we only see up to his face. And whenever we see all of him, he is completely in the shadows. We see his face for the first time 3/4 of the way through this book, and even then, most of it is in shadow. Heck, I only saw one person actually call him Batman throughout this whole thing. Whenever Penguin talks about Batman, he only refers to him as him. This is very effective, as since we don't see much from Batman's point of view, he comes across as this mythical being that criminals don't even want to talk about. It is something definitely inspired by the Joker graphic novel written by Brian Azzarello, which who knows, I might review sometime. But like in that book, Batman is an unattainable thing that is just out there, always hunting you, always wanting to get you. He is the boogeyman to these ruthless killers, and is a refreshing take to see things from the point of view of the bad guys. Speaking of inspiration, one thing that I have to point out is the similarities with the story and the short story in Joker's Asylum Volume 1. If you saw my review on last year's Arkham Week, you can see a lot of similarities between this story and that one. For example, the stories both tackle similar things. We peek into his past, we show that he is a man to be feared, that he can just take your life away with a few phone calls. He falls in love with a woman that turns tragic because of his very nature. All of these things are in both stories.
Oh, and if there's anybody out there that thinks, oh, it's just a coincidence, it's not based off of the same story, it's not taking inspiration from that, well, I think I have pretty clear evidence that it is. Mostly in the fact that in the back of this book says the same story. The same story that I was just talking about from Joker's Asylum Volume 1 is in the back of this story. So you can tell that the artists and the writers definitely took inspiration from that story.
I am very glad of this, because that means that story will be read by even more people, as it is my favorite one out of all the Joker's Asylum stories. And for someone to see the great qualities that it had and expand on them in this book, that is very good and very impressive.
But don't get me wrong, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying it's a ripoff, I'm saying they're taking inspiration from that book.
We are given a much larger look at the Penguin's past, more into his relationship with a different twist on it, more on how he views Batman and how he views himself. One of the odd things that this book has is the relationship with his mother. It is very unsettling, actually. I think that Gotham might have the Penguin's strange relationship with his mother because of this book. However, this book takes it to another level. It is his mother who is the only one who tells him growing up that he is a beautiful boy, when in comparison his brothers and father look at him with disgust, so how he grows older we see him get more attached to her. Now, while the story never goes all the way with this idea, it does hint at it very strongly that Oswald was attracted to his own mother, because she was the only one who saw him as beautiful. This makes things even more interesting when after his mother dies he started dating this this woman named Cassandra, who is blind. Penguin then tells her all of these things like that he wishes he was. Handsome, honorable, kind, all the things that he would like to be but can't because of his hateful, vindictive nature. We see again in a scene with him destroying someone's life for being disrespectful to him, but this time it is put back to back with someone who was respectful to his mother and him making her life even better. He buys her the building she lives in, offers her to fly her anywhere she wants to go, but then she says a very important thing. I don't care about all of that. I don't need these things. I just loved your mother, and love doesn't require any payment at all. This is the one thing that the Penguin is not capable of understanding. His mind is all about what can he do to get this, or how can he get that? What is the price tag on this? We hear many times in this book that what Oswald wants, Oswald gets. And that shows that he only really cares about two things, about material wealth and what other people think of him. Cassandra says that whatever she touches, she can see. And so he will not let her touch him, as in his mind, that will make her able to see him for who he really is. He would much rather her see him for what he wants to be rather than what he is, because he is convinced that no one can accept him for who he is because all he is to them is a monster.
For any complaints that I have about this story, they're pretty few, but, still worth mentioning.
For example, there are some times in this book that the art is too dark. It is hard to make out what is going on. Like, look at this panel. It took me a few reads of this book before I realized that the umbrella was turning into a buzzsaw, as most of it was faded into the background. And the one thing that I found really funny every now and then is the Penguin will be meeting with someone at an undisclosed location. He will open the wrong door and run into the Joker using one of the rooms and doing something completely random. Oh, it's funny. It's very funny. I actually quite enjoy them. I think they're hilarious. But look at this panel. We see the Penguin walking down a hallway, and here is the Joker in a panda suit with a plunger.
Joker, what were you doing with a panda suit and a plunger?
Well, I mean... There! Does that answer your question?
A little too much. Thank you, I guess.
Anytime.
Anyway, as I was saying, we see the Joker in a panda suit with a plunger, and yet Batman is in the very next panel and isn't saying anything, isn't, attacking the Joker or anything. He's just there to warn the Penguin and threaten him. Okay, so what, did Batman not see him? I mean, this is Batman here. This guy could actually find a needle in a haystack in less than 5 seconds. Is Joker just like, hey, Batman, I'm over here? And Batman is just like, I can't deal with you today, Joker. This is the Penguin story. Or is that panda suit a really good disguise? I don't know. In any case, it is just a panel that doesn't make any sense to me. However, I think that would be mostly all of my complaints of the story. The ending does kind of resort to a slug fight between Batman and Penguin. I would have wanted to see Batman take down the Penguin in a way that's symbolic for the Penguin, but the way it ends with Cassandra is truly tragic and perfectly fitting for a character like this one, so it's not that big of a deal for me.
All in all, this is a great story. I think that if more people had the reverence and respect for characters like these writers did for the Penguin, if more people had that level of respect for the other characters in the New 52, then I doubt the New 52 would be trying to close itself out a few years later. So all in all, I gotta give Penguin Pride and Prejudice a 8 out of 10. So that's 3 reviews down, 3 to... Ow! Ow! What the heck was... Oh boy.
3 reviews is all you'll get.
Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's...
Lady Shiva!
Lady Shiva, thank you. I mean, you are a great Batman villain, but you're really underused. I mean, I think people know more about Firefly than they do you. And
Silence! It's time for you to face a real warrior.
I understand. I'm glad that if I had to die, It was at the hands of a true warrior, and not at some punk looking for his next paycheck. I would face you with honor, Lady Shiva. If you don't mind, I'd rather live!
Oh, you little! You run like a coward! Come and face me!
Not in your life, Lady Shiva. Lady Shiva. Whatever. Whoa!
I have excellent hearing.
Okay, fine. Can't outrun you. Fight or flight, right? Okay, come on. You wanna? I never wanted to hit a lady, but it seems to be an opportunity where I have to.
This'll be easy.
Wait, time out! How about we call it a draw?
Let's see what the mighty warrior has in his bag. A comic book. A toy. Well, it's not. Seriously?
It's amusing.
Oh, one granola bar. That's a good idea. What about medical supplies? Or more food? A bouncy ball? Really?
Actually, it's a stun grenade disguised as a bouncy ball. Well, I'm sorry, milady, to leave you tied up. Funny joke, nobody around to hear it. Oh, I gotta get off the grid. I hope he's okay.
Yellow.
Hey, Dr. J.
Hey man, how's it going?
Look, I need a place to lay low for a while.
You lay low. Are you up to some cheeky shenanigans again? Did you blow up another bus full of school children?
I never blew up a school bus in the first... Look, doesn't matter. Look, can I stay at your place?
Oh yeah, you should be able to lay low here. No problem.
Okay, good. I'll probably be there within a day's hitchhiking. I just gotta get something first.
Alrighty then. Like to hear the story.
Okay, talk to you later, man. Bye.
Alright, talk to you later, man. Should be awesome. Later. Sweet, that's gonna be awesome.
Excuse me, Dr. J. Though I doubt you have a degree, I think you'll be very useful.
What in the name of Commander Shepard is this?
Greetings. My name is Edward Nigma, and I think you are about to turn the laser dude over to me.
And why should I do that exactly?
Why should you listen to me? Well, if you don't, then I'll tell the laser dude that it was you who got him sent to the asylum in the first place.
Oh my, isn't this whole world turning inside out? Who knows, will friends become enemies? Friends and enemies betray friends. Again, who knows? I'm the only one who's got the scoop. Join us next time to find out on Arkham Week.